Hi, I'm Jason Gedrick, and I'm not going to hype you. I just want to say that I'm in a new movie called Rooftops, and it's got a lot going for it, and I think you should check it out.
A world exploding with music.
It took Top Gun a good 36 years to figure out a sequel. But with Iron Eagle, only 2 years passed before we were treated to Iron Eagle II, aka Iron Eagle II, The Battle Beyond the Flag, in 1988.
I got something that'll blow the roofs off in Anchorage.
Let's do it.
The original film was not a huge box office hit in '86, with Top Gun being the jet fighting film of choice of that year. However, on home video, it absolutely dominated. Director Sidney J. Furie, in a surprise move, came back for this sequel. This time, Doug Masters and Chappy are back, but actor Jason Gedrick didn't want to come back. So in a bold decision, he came back to film his death scene, which opens the film.
I pinned a 10.
No way.
If I'm lying, I'm dying.
Doug is shot down by Russian planes near Alaska, while his partner Cooper, aka Cobra, escapes. Doug Masters was a flying Ferris Bueller to kids everywhere. Having him die in the first scene was akin to Optimus Prime dying at the beginning of the Transformers animated film. It's traumatic and it's off-putting.
Cobra!
The first film was funny and light, even though it was dealing with life and death situations. Nothing like this really happened in part 1. Although you do hope Doug was able to come back, as did Chappy did in the last film when he was shot down. We'll get back to that later. After Doug's death, his partner in flight, Cooper, aka Cobra, played by the somber Mark Humphrey, is shipped to an unknown airbase in Israel and introduced to Chappy.
I'm with you guys. I fly. I fly jets.
Who informs him that he's part of a group of misfit American and Russian pilots that have been assembled to take out a hidden mountain missile complex with targets on both Russia and the US. Top Gun Maverick, my little friend. Did you see this movie and think no one would notice you stole the entire plot? You son of a bitch. I think this movie had potential, especially since the same writers, Furie and Elders, wrote this chapter, but the biggest issue with this movie is its lead. Humphreys is just a absolute bore. He has no chemistry with Gossett or his love interest, the Russian fighter pilot played by Sharon Brandon. In fact, he's just actually kind of plain creepy. Now, most of the Russian pilots are way more interesting than their American counterparts. Actor Colm Feore is really strong here as a Russian pilot, and he is one of the only actors here to go on to have a really healthy career. Here is also where this film deviates from the first in tone. In the first film, we have goofy, nerdy kids as comedy. Here it's all adults, and the attempt to make them funny just doesn't hit at all. It makes them seem more like idiots than competent military members that fly planes.
Play in the NBA someday, huh? Come on out of here, man. Let me show you how to shoot the ball. Hey, fellas, why don't you lighten up, huh? Leave the guy alone, huh? Leave him alone.
Shoot the ball good?
It's also very odd that Gossett seems very unaffected by Doug's death. In fact, he doesn't even mention it until 30 minutes into the movie.
How long did you fly with him?
Who?
Doug Masters? He was a friend of mine, too. We flew some combat together.
You're Chappy?
If Doug was such a huge part of his life, wouldn't he have said something to Cooper right off the bat? And Cooper just seems rather ambivalent about Doug's death here as well. Such a huge wasted opportunity for conflict, it almost feels underwritten to the point like they didn't even know if maybe he would come back, or they just left it open. The soundtrack here is terrible. I guess they didn't have the budget for Dio or Queen anymore, so that's another missing element of the original that made it so iconic. You kind of feel director Furie is kind of struggling here as well. The actors he has to work with are clearly not up to the task, and with a few exceptions, Gossett is clearly on a level beyond anyone else in this cast.
Do you have one of those macho call signs like Stud or Ace?
Cobra. My call sign's Cobra.
Ah, the big-headed snake.
The action scenes they're okay here, but unlike the last film where we care deeply about Masters and his attempt to rescue his dad, there's no real stakes here. The enemy has no face. At least the stakes aren't shown. There's not one scene where the enemy is targeting a US or Russian city. It's just generic bad guy footage in a warehouse. It's much like it was in Top Gun Maverick. It's all hearsay and a silent mute enemy. This does not create any sort of conflict for us to hang our hats on. The conflict here is supposed to be between our pilots getting along to achieve the mission, but we don't care about any of them, including our lead. And about an hour into the film, the Russian, played by Colm, admits to Cooper that he was there the day Doug died. And Cooper just says, "Okay, cool." End scene.
There's no room! There's no room! Climb, sir, climb! God damn it, General! Major fracture, I'm pulling out!
Soak this in a little bit. After a big death scene, they bond over caricature drawings of themselves. So, the next time you pass one of these wonderful artists on the beach, please stop and thank them for their service to our country. And if they ask you, "What are you talking about?" just smile and say, "Iron Eagle II, never say die." They rip off their Velcro patches, and we wait as the screenwriter of Top Gun 2 takes extensive notes in the back, only to put those notes in Xenu's top secret folder to be opened 35 years later under the tight supervision of Tom Cruise. The dogfight scenes in this film were again performed by the Israeli army, and in fact the entire film was filmed in Israel this time, whereas the first film was only partially filmed there. And also a note that Gossett never even gets in a plane in this film. He stays in the tower or in a tank, or now he likes to go infantry style on the ground to help out. Perhaps if he had kept his dance regiment in check, he would still be flying. Our lead actors embrace, in the most bland embrace of all time, and will in fact then live forever, happily ever after, while Jason Gedrick dances his heart out in the hit motion picture Rooftops, and goes on to have a storied career in film that we all discuss today. Oh wait.
Billiard Tower. This is Iron Eagle.
Yes, we hear you.